What's up, guys? I'm at the channel. We're doing today. We're working on my mom's car. We're gonna be getting the head off of this thing. I don't know if we're getting it off today or not, but we're gonna try to get as much work as we can today before I gotta start cooking my dinner for my family. So what I gotta do here, what we got going is I jacked up the car. I got the fender line around. I got all the little plastic stuff out of the way. That's all I've got done so far besides the tire here. That's all self-explanatory. You know, you got the little clips and all that kind of stuff you just gotta find and get rid of. There's like three bolts there, bolt there. Like, actually, I don't even think my bolts, it's just our screws. And then there's just like, no, the rest are just metal little clips. Well, they're annoying, you know. I hate those little plastic clips because they break or this, but then none of these broke actually. They came out nicely and, you know, happily. But so we gotta take this off and take all the cover off, because what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this pulley off here. Probably, actually, I do have a puller. I just don't know if it's gonna actually fit here or not. But I guess first things first, what we'll do is probably, to be honest, I don't know where to start with this exactly, but follow along and we'll see what we do. We get done, I'll show you guys what I take off. So if you guys are doing this job, you guys can really see what I'm doing, and you know, we learn together a little bit, right? And always keep all your clips together, because you don't want to, how do you call it, be listeners just for later. I gotta get a container for those. So yeah, so enjoy. We're gonna get this all apart and figure this all out here. So what we're gonna start doing now is we're gonna start taking apart this shroud, basically the shroud off the radiator and the plastics all around the top part. Another thing I'm actually gonna get off too is actually gonna be the bumper, which I find out a little later because I wanted to get to one thing a little easier, and plus I was just like, oh, and it's only two. It's what, it was like 1, 2, 3. I think it was 4 bolts on the bottom, 1 or 2 bolts on the fender side of it. So I was like, oh, you know what? This is the easiest bumper I think I've ever seen come off, because it only clips in and has 1, 2, 10 bolts in total holding it in. So I was like, oh, why not? Let's take this bumper off. So I ended up taking the bumper off in a little bit, but we're taking the radiator shroud off because it's easier to get to the intake bolts. The intake bolts over there are pretty pain in the butt to get to, and they're not the funnest things to take out with the radiator shroud, which I've done it before, and it sucks. So every night I take the intake off. Now I take the radiator shroud off, which isn't too bad either, because all of this is just a few wires and for the fans and what else is there? Yeah, that's really it. And then there's a couple lines that just connect to it to hold them in place there, which I had them zip tied from the last time I took it apart. So yeah, so I took that apart. Then I got into this whole wire mess, and so I started just taking everything apart, because like I said, the more things you take apart, the better usually it is to get something out. So there's a lot of wires in this area. There's this one thing I was like, should I take off this pipe, or should I just you know, should I take the whole unit off the head? And you know, later on I eventually find out that that pipe is actually alright disconnected. So I was like, oh, I'm sitting trying to pull on this thing. I'm like, oh wait, this thing actually, I don't even have to remove it. It'll come off with the head after I take it off. So I stopped doing that. I had to take off the one in the back, which was for the heater core, I'm assuming. Then also the wires, I had to move these wires around to get them all detached, figure out where things go, blah, 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 you know, figure out all the little things. And then after I did all this, basically I moved over to just doing the, what do you call it, all of the pulley stuff, how to get the main pulley off. So one thing I should have done here is I should have lined this up top, that center, basically moved the main pulley around till it lined up to this hole, which I'll show you guys in a few. Yeah, I should have really done that, but other than that, this belt was a pain in the butt to get off, because this belt was just not, that pulley did not want to move. It just didn't want to move. Eventually, when I got the move, you really need 2 people to do this. I had to do some weird foot thing. I don't know if I did it here. I think I was able to get it off, but when I was trying to put it back on, I had to sit on my foot, push my foot down, and sit there on top of the engine bay, like try to grab the belt and stuff. Which, you know, I was doing that later on, I think off camera, because I was trying to I was trying to get the one water pump pulley off, and I needed the belt for tension. So yeah, so I had to do that, but got that off. And then I was able to start getting off all the other stuff, which was a bunch of little bolts you gotta get for the timing cover. And what else is there? Yeah, just so 3 bolts on the water pump. I gotta just take off the power steering pump, which was only 4 bolts or 3 bolts. And then yeah, that's really it. Just an idle pulley, which that one's stripped, but I got it off, thankfully. Yeah, and then I broke a bolt on an alternator, which sucked. And then yeah, there's a lot of stuff that kind of happened after that, but you know, it happens. Alright guys, just kind of a quick update here. I'm going to probably put the GoPro on the charger so I can show you guys a little more later when I get done more. What I've got done here is I took some coolant hoses off here, just to one off this here. This is connected to that, and then I took this one off from here, which will come off when that comes off. I took all the wires off that one thing. The bracket here is over here. This is gonna be stuck over here, so what do you call it? I had to break loose the wire thing. Where'd it go? How did it go? How did it go? That way. Yeah, it went this way. So the wire thing right there, I broke it off, and now it allows me to move this way over here. Now you can actually remove this whole thing. I'm going to just leave it just because the plug's there and it's not in my way. So more things connected, the better. Let's see, that's all one piece there, so you don't have to move any of that. When you take the intake off too, just on this is down here. This is your your breather tube thing, your vent for your what do you call it, crankcase. So that, yeah, be wary of that. You got your knock sensor right here. So if you're doing your knock sensor, there she is. You want it right there, you might as well replace it because I heard they go bad on these. So not sure if they do or not, but I replaced this one because we're having issues, and it's just replaced now. So it's new. But now what my next objective is we get taking all this stuff apart. Now we are going to have to probably put a jack underneath the motor to support the motor, because you do got to take off this motor mount here, sadly. So it's these 2 bolts up here. Actually, those 4 bolts, these 2 bolts, and the whole motor mount comes off, and then you can get the head off after that. But don't forget about your exhaust back there. You gotta get the exhaust off, and I'll keep you guys updated on exactly what I'm taking off here. But my next objective now is just to take the crank pulley off, and hopefully not everything all around this whole thing here, but whatever I gotta take off to get this cover off this thing here. All right, guys, I got this all done so far. I got this all apart, I got all that stuff apart. Don't know where I left off at. This is the next day because it got dark out and stuff, and I hate working in the dark. So we got the pulley off here. Now, one thing I want to recommend you guys to do is definitely put this at top dead center, the motor, because there is a hole, which I'll show you guys. Actually, I'll show you guys right now. So here's our timing cover right here. So basically what we gotta do, which I didn't do this, but I'm taking the whole thing apart anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. But see this hole right here? Align that hole with that hole right there, and basically that's your top dead center spot. And as long as you don't move the crank, your motor will be at top dead center. And then when you time the motor, it'll be easy. So now what I gotta do is I got to reposition the motor, blah blah stuff like that, to realign the timing. So sadly for me, that's what I gotta do. So yeah, so I gotta go do that now, because yeah, it's sucks, but it's what it is. You know, I always get too jumpy and want to get into things, and that's what happens. So definitely align that. There's also a tool here that's supposed to lock into here and here. So there is a tool for timing. Definitely look into getting it if you're doing this job. But other than that, the front covers it comes up pretty easy. You just get all the bolts out. You do gotta take out all the pulleys right here. That pulley, of course that pulley there. That's the power steering. Now that comes off. Idler pulley. Don't want to take off that. The alternator does have to come off if you're taking off the head, most likely. I took the tensioners off. That was pretty easy to take off. And then, as I said, as I took the tensioner off, this guide came off. I was able to get the chain off. So right now, all I'm doing is taking off the cams, and then I'm getting this head off next. So right here, I know there's no pressure on these valves right here, so I'm gonna loosen these up, so that when I start, I'm gonna loosen up these ones, this one, and this one, because there's no pressure on these ones. So basically, the reason why you do that is so that you don't bend your camshaft. So let's say like I didn't take this off, and I had like all these loosened here, and I go to take these 2 off. Well, this is going to start lifting up like this, and it's going to try to bend over here. So that's why you loosen up the loose ones first, and then you go for the tight ones next. And like kind of like this situation where this is sort of tight and this is sort of tight, you kind of just got to go back and forth and just let it come up easily. So that's some advice for that. So basically what I was saying about the tightness, so it's basically the tightness of like the cam trying to push off the valve. So like when you do a cam like this, you not one of the valves or a couple of valves are gonna be pushed down. So this is like this is a 4-cylinder. It is a 4-cylinder, no duh. It has 4 valves per cylinder, so you're gonna have 2 valves being pushed down. And basically, I'm just saying, loosen up the caps that don't have valves being pushed down around them. Because if you don't do that, so you loosen up a few of the loose ones, and then you go to loosen up that one tight one, you still have one that still needs to be unloosened up, that's loose. that's around a loose cap, or like, you know, that's not has no pressure, then you can end up possibly bending a cam, which I heard it's more common on Coyotes, which I know more about those ones, so I relate that to all of them. But so it's just something to keep in mind. If you see a valve near there, you're about to take your cap off. That's being pushed on. It's pushing the valve down. Those little caps things, those little round caps. If it's pushing those down, that's a high pressure area. So don't loosen up those first, because as soon as you start loosening those up, you know, it's gonna just be everything's just gonna start trying to go bend all around. Honestly, this is the better way to do it, because before I did it, it kind of went a little too fast. So honestly, doing this by hand is probably better. Gasket. Alright guys, let's look at this gasketto. So I can already tell there's an issue right here, possibly an issue right there. Let's look at the gasket itself. So as you can see, okay, so the gasket is 100% bad. Because look, I burned a hole right through there. It actually sheared off, like burnt that off. Right there, it's burned off. As you can see, it's burned. I don't see anywhere to the water ports, which is kind of strange because I was having issues with the water port issue. Now, I'm not saying it could have gone in between the gasket in between, so that's not impossible. Yeah, but I definitely, as you can see, there was definitely a leakage between the cylinders, and definitely those two areas. This side's all burned through, so like I said, it could have gone between the gasket, which is probably what it did. Yeah, actually, you see right there, see all that burn marks? So it actually went to this little water port, and that's probably why it wasn't like leaking into it, because it didn't go to a main jacket. So yeah, so actually these are the water jackets here, and all these little holes here are your coolant holes. These are your main ones on the outside right here. What it looks like is it burned through here, and it was leaking through here, and possibly, you know, let's look at the cylinders actually. I haven't even looked at the pistons. So I can't really say coolant was in this, but so now our only issue is now, guys. So now that I got this off, the issue is how badly damaged is this deck surface here. So I see there's burn marks. There's burn marks all through here, definitely all through here and here, and I believe through here as well. Now, with that being said, how much did this warp? Now, did this warp a lot? It's not gonna ever seal properly again. It's not gonna run properly again unless I take this whole engine out and get this resurfaced. I may have to take the engine out anyways to get the stupid thing out, which hopefully not. It's more accessible this way. But yeah, so we definitely had seepage through here, and as you can see, and actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it definitely blew through here into the water jackets here and here. So that's what happened. It was blown between right here, going out to here and here. Now, it didn't leak a whole lot into the cylinders, thankfully. Like I said, I don't know if this is water from sitting, or if this is water from me pulling it off, which I'm gonna assume probably from, what do you call it, from sitting, because it was pretty well drained, to be honest. Pretty well drained from sitting, so most likely this could be actually from sitting. Which is not good, guys. So I gotta see, let's go take a look at the head itself. As you see, it is burned right here, severely burned. Like I can feel the crisp, I can feel like the digging in it. I can feel it in there. So this might be a new engine, or we're not going to machine this. It's going to cost just as much to get a new engine than probably machine the whole block, because you got to deassemble the whole block, and then, you know, then about the money and parts, you're better off just getting. And my dog is chasing her tail. Get it, girl. Get it. Get the tail. Get the tail. Get it. Get it. Just get the tail. Did you get it, girl? Yeah, that's your own tail, dummy. Yep, that's your tail. That is your tail, girl. Yep, go get your tail. Go get the tail. Oh, you got it. All right. Sorry. But yeah, so burn through here, leak to these ports here, and possibly here. So all line, terrible, bad, really bad damage. All right, guys, listen. I didn't make an outro of this video, and plus I have some more information about what we're doing on this, about this whole situation here. So what we're going to be doing actually is probably getting a whole new block and a whole new engine, because this right here, after I had my father just come look at it, like, just come look at it and see if you feel this. There is a huge 2 divots here. It's probably about a couple thousands probably. It's a pretty good, it goes woo woo, and you know, I can't get this resurfaced. And if, you know, you guys can comment down below if, you know, if it doesn't really matter, I get aluminum block resurfaced or when they have that issue. But listen, for what I know, you gotta get it resurfaced, because if it's not a flat surface, then it's not gonna seal properly. And the gasket, I showed you guys the gasket. The gasket's even warped. A whole bunch of things with the gasket. There was a lot of heat, especially I think it was this cylinder. I'm not sure if it was this cylinder or that cylinder, but one of these two here had a lot of heat in it, just between these two walls. So at that point, you know, there was a lot of heat. It melted the gasket basically. It burned through it and stuff, and really bad. So listen, we're getting a whole new, basically, engine swap this thing. The head's over here, so basically we're really doing, maybe we'll do some of this head. Maybe we'll build this engine for some type of go-kart or something, maybe, I don't know. But as you see right there, it's, you know, I can feel like the whole indentations of that. Indentations right here. So, you know, this is for my mother. I'm not gonna build her a car back up. That's only gonna fail again, possibly. And she likes this car, she wants to keep the car, so the best option is just to get a whole new engine, just to say, hey, it's gonna run, and all we gotta do is just put a new engine in. The engine will cost about $1,800 probably, $2,000 in the end of all this, with tax probably. So a little expensive endeavor, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you want a car to run. So listen, other than that, guys, listen, I'll keep you guys updated and when we got the engine and stuff. But listen, other than that, listen, if you guys enjoy the video, leave a like down below. Comment down below if you have any expertise on like stuff like this, like on the block, or just give me your opinion of, like, you know, am I kind of stupid for probably just going right for getting another block, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, I'm doing what I think is better for my mother, and that's all I'm gonna say, put it towards that. So like, comment, subscribe to the channel, do what it takes to follow our dreams, don't let me get in your way, and I'll see you guys in the next one.